So hi and welcome to the 12th part in this tutorial series. In this part we shall implement, enemies which are actually rocks that you can dodge and shoot. Now, so I have this rock image and added to the project. I'll give a link for it in the description. Make sure copy items into destination groups folder is selected and also add the targets. And then do finish. Make sure it's included in this list in your project manager. Okay, so in your viewcontroller.m file, I'll begin by making the image. So so create a new global, and it will be a GLK texture info pointer to the rock texture info, and then create the rock texture info, and this will equal self load image in your load method, of course, and it's called rock for game.png. And also it's also deleted. So in your did receive memory warning method, just reassign the texture buffer ID variable to underscore rock texture info dot name, and then do gl delete textures one add texture buffer ID. Okay. Now create a new method, do it above the change rocket location method, and name it add rock. So basically let's add a rock. So the rock will be added at the top and will go down. So let's create a new array and just type property. So in your private section, and it will be a strong pointer to an NS mutable array. I said array. Okay, and name this rock array or something like that. And again, then just construct it. Construct it. So alloc init with capacity, well, 20 is fine. And then, so, essentially, the X location of the rock. So what you do is you just do, so sprite new rock equals sprite alloc init with effect self dot base effect. Now did I type something wrong? Of course. Then new rock dot texture info will be equal rock texture info. Okay, now for the X position we'll do something special. So do int X location, and this basically will be so RC for random, and cast this to an integer self dot view dot bounds dot size dot width. So this way we will get a value between 0 and the width of the screen, and maybe do like everything +1 just to be safe. So we'll get at least 1. Okay, then so new rock dot position will equal glk vector to make. On the x it will be x location, and on the y it will basically be minus square size to make it off screen. Okay, and then you can just add it to our array. So self dot rock array add object new rock. Okay, now let's also render our rocks, and you can actually just copy and paste this. And change this just to rock instead of balls. Oh, I forgot the velocity. Yeah. Rock array. Yes, so this will also have a velocity. Our added rock, and the velocity will be 0 on the x, but it will be like -1 for now. It's probably too fast. Maybe 0.5. So minus, no, yeah, 0.5 is fine. Okay. Then okay. Now change this to rock. Well, actually, it should be 0. I'm not even sure. No, it should be. Yeah, it should be minus. Sorry. So, and make it like 5. Should be fine. So -5.0 for the y velocity. And then if just change this around. So like this. And rock render. And the same for the update. And also like give it a rotation velocity to a rock. Always nice. So new rock dot rotation velocity will equal like -5. Okay. Now let's add a new rock, say every second. So make a new static. That will be a double, and name it last rock. And do like 0 to initialize it. Then then do last rock plus equals self dot time since last update, and this will be in seconds. So this simply gives us the time interval between the updates. So now if last rock is greater or equal to -1.0f, then to last rock equals 0.0f, and maybe first we should create the rock, so to self dot add rock. So I made some mistakes. In your update, to update for the rock should be lesser than 0, and also in the render. And in your, when we add the rock, this should be multiplied by 2, and it's indeed minus 5 for the velocity. So do self.u.bundle.size.height multiplied by 2. And when you run this now, it will add rocks. And this also should be multiplied by 2, the width. So like this. So now it's adding rocks all over the screen. That's great. Okay, now let's manage our sprites. Same way as with the balls. So just we make our sprite new rock here. And we do nothing with it. We keep typing it around them, and then just get rid of this and do this only if new rock equals nil. Then you do, so then you do all of this. First, let's check in the array. So for sprite limit rock in self.rock array. So if rock.position.y is lesser than 0 plus square size or minus square size to be safe, which is also the arbitrary under method property. So square size, then we want to give that rock a new position, and so then just do rock.position equals, you can just copy and paste this. Like this. Okay. And don't forget X location. So actually, let's do it differently. Let's do this. So let's do all of this. Our location is created up here, and just to glk vector do position. This will then simply equal position. And that's fine. Okay, and then you can get rid of this. On top of this, just make sure this equals position. Okay. Now let's try this out. Let's test this with self.rock array. Actually, let's print this to the screen. So with nslog to test it. And just to add %sign d, self.rock array cont. And set new rock to rock. Now, also we should, in our renderer and update methods, we should also set this to minus, just to be safe, square size, and also in our update 0 minus square size. So in the if statement in the for loop. Okay, yes, and set new rock to rock in the if statement in the for loop in the add rock method. So if you run this now, and the 9, the array isn't getting any bigger. Okay. And set new block to rock. Now, also we should, in our renderer and update methods, we should also set this to minus, just to be safe, square size, and also in our update 0 minus square size. So in the if statement in the for loop. Okay. Yes, and set new rock to rock in the if statement in the for loop in the add rock method. So if you run this now, it should stop at 9. Yes, it's and at 9 the array isn't getting any bigger now. And at 9 the array isn't getting any bigger. Okay. Now for the collision detection. So in your update method, I've already typed this because it's quite long. It takes some time to type and it took me some time to figure out. But essentially we have 2 for loops, so one for the rock and one for the balls, and basically checking a couple of things. So I'm sure if you look at this you can figure it out, but basically it's checking for the bonds. So for example, if any, so it's going to check, so if this is true, if any of these are true, this entire if statement will evaluate to false because of the exclamation mark. But if all of them are false, that means the ball is in collision with the rock. And then we just do these 2 lines and we basically set the positions of the 2. So we set the rock, we set the rock at the bottom and we set our ball at the top. Yeah, so that way they don't get rendered and they can wait to be created again. So when we now run this, and we shoot balls, they kill the rocks, and we basically have a small game at the moment. Now there's one little problem. Sometimes you can see that the rocks, they like stack up on each other. And that's basically because sometimes multiple rocks are available, and so in our add rock method, sometimes this for loop will find multiple rocks, and it will and then when a new rock is added, it will use all of them at once. So to fix this, we should actually just put a break statement inside of the if block here, so that way they won't stack up. So now when we shoot, our collision is working fine. And again for the collision, so yes, and these things, so basically what they mean, well, yeah, you can see it for yourself actually. So we basically, so we take the position of the X and we add, well, I'll draw it for you. It's quite simple actually. So say we have our ball and we have our rock. So essentially, if all of these are false, that means they are colliding. So the first one says if rock.x plus square.size. So basically we every time add square.size divided divided by 2, or we subtract that. That's because the center of our sprites is in the center. Yeah, well, it's in the center of a sprite basically. Quite simple. The origin, I'm sorry. The origin is in the center of our sprites every time. And then we add it so that way we get the position of the right bond, and when we subtract it we get the position of the left bond. So this. So essentially, if the right bond, the position of the right bond is smaller or equal to the position of the position of the left bond of the ball, if that's the case, they are not colliding, and then this entire your statement will evaluate to false. But if that's the case, there are still more conditions to check. So every time we check a new condition, and you can, well, yeah, figure it out for yourself. They are quite simple. And if all of them are false, then this entire thing will evaluate to true, and that means they are colliding. Quite simple. Now, let's also check for collision with our rocket. Now we add it. So maybe let's make like a for statement and do like a boolean. So make a new method and put it in a boolean and just name it check for collision, and it will take 2 arguments. It will take basically 2 sprites. Just do sprite pointer. You just need a rock and sprite to come. Rock and one more. Yeah, just do like this. Keep it simple. And sprite. I will parallel collision correctly. And then just basically, actually just because we're lazy, do this. Just do return, and then copy all of this and paste it here. Add this, and then remove all of this and replace it with check with self. Check for collision and rock and ball. And let's just test it out, which should still be the same basically. Yeah, it works. And now make one more if, and you can make that if and set up this block. So if self check for collision, the rock and player self dot player rocket are colliding, just do ns for now, maybe ns log, or no, just delete the and just set the position of the rock. Okay. So now we actually have a very simple game. So now if the rocket gets hit by come on, yeah, you see the rock gets the hit. So okay, so now we have a very basic game. Yeah, and for now this is it. So bye.